I am your commentator, Belfic Gaming, and here we have Moliman22 and Mooney racing against each other with a reverse pallet incentive met. So thank you everyone for getting that. Man, that flashing is sure something. So it looks like we're getting ready for a countdown here, and this race will be. So to get started here, they'll be doing any percent or beat the game, which is the normal mode. So you won't see any crazy Gordos, any crazy fast sprites coming at you. But nonetheless, you should see some great speedrunning and some sweet movement going. I would say normal mode is probably the most popular mode to play for this in a way. Alright, the countdown has started. And our runners are off. There they go. First off, we're going greens here. The first section here is around 20 seconds long. Basically, the biggest thing you want to do is dodge a lot of the enemies, or if you do have to inhale them, you kind of want to just swallow them along the way. The reason that is because this game is pretty much revolved around lag management. The first big RNG coming up here is Poppy. Poppy is going to do one of three things. Poppy is guaranteed to give you 2 bombs right off the get-go. However, the third attack Poppy can do, we can do what is called the Poppy Dance, which you see right now on Moliman's screen. Or you can do the slow bomb, or you can do a fast bomb, which we saw on Mooney's screen. This right here is going to be the first probably of many lead exchanges throughout this run. Like I said, it's the first instance of RNG. As we progress through greens, you see on Mooney's screen, he's going through the tree climb right now. Everything in normal mode, for the most part, does 1 damage to you, except for the bears, which do, I believe, 2 or 3 damage, and the Gordos, which are the balls with spikes, do 3 damage, and no matter what mode that you are in. So coming up to Wispy Woods here, Wispy can do a couple things. Ultimately, what you would like is 6 apples right away. And it looks like Mooney getting really good luck at the start there, getting 3 apples to drop. And getting a couple puffs in between. Something to worry about with Wispy Woods is that Wispy can do sometimes up to 8 puffs in between each apple, which just destroys your time. Ultimately, like I said, you'd like 3 apples to start and 3 apples as a second attack. Going into Castle Low, which is stage 2, they're going to be presented with a microphone right after get-go. The runners are going to walk into the microphone and just swallow it and keep running. If the microphone is used, it's an instant 5 seconds wasted. Going through this, they're going to hit a warp star to go into the mini-boss to face off against Lolo and Lolala first time around. You can't die in that pit with the where the warp star is if you're too far to the sides. So here is just a quick 3 hits. Again, where Lolo and Lolala come out is completely random. And with that, we're going to go and press on to the actual main fight. We have Moliman here going for Curry. He's going to try and do a Curry kill strat, which if he gets the right RNG and the right movement, he can one-cycle the second stage boss. And we have Mooney here going in without the Curry strats, but if Mooney can get really good placement on Lolo and Lolala, and good movement with the boxes in his mouth, he can actually make really quick work out of this boss as well. So here we see Moliman here catching up a lot of time. Looks like he got a nice 4-cycle on La 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 La, which made up for that Poppy dance he got in Green Greens. So we actually have a really, really tight race right now. Going into Float Islands, I would say this is the most technical heavy stage in the run. What's going to happen in this stage is this is the most lag intensive stage in the game because of how many sprites this game tried to shove into it. You saw on Moliman's screen that he shot the bomb out of his mouth, and you saw all those animations come out. All those animations reset a memory seed and will actually cause a ton of lag on the screen. So as our runners go through this, they need to keep in mind that when they inhale and swallow an enemy, or even break blocks, they have to keep in mind that how many sprites are going to be on the screen at a time, and try to keep the game flowing as much as possible. Moliman is about to take on the ship right now, which I'm assuming both runners may take the curry. What is going to happen is that if you grab the curry, you want to not use it really at all, because what the curry does is that once you break a sprite with the curry, you have all the sprites from the fireball and all the sprites from the broken sprite, which is this is the laggiest screen in the game. Looks like everyone now is in the whale blowhole and shot off into the clouds where we're about to face Kabula. Now, Kabula is a very unique boss in that Kabula can do a couple of different things, and Kabula actually takes a little bit extra damage as the fight initiates. Kabula is going to do a few things called like a tri-shot, which you see on Moliman's screen. Kabula can do a staggering shot, which you can go up and down vertically and shoot three balls out. And after a while, Kabula can start spinning and charge Kirby. Both runners making very quick work of Kabula. We are now in Bubbly Clouds, which is stage 4 of the game, and this is the longest stage. This is the endurance stage of the run. This stage has a lot of movement-heavy pieces to do, especially in the next couple screens coming up here. As you can see, everyone's just going to walk underneath the Waddle Doos and Waddle Dees with the umbrellas. We are going to, again, try and keep lag management as best as we can, but this stage here, it can snowball rather quickly, and it's better to be safe than sorry with this stage because the checkpoints are rather bad. Moliman is probably in the hardest room of Bubbly Clouds, which is the little cloud segment. And the reason it's the hardest is because there's just a lot of like little corners and little ledges that you have to jump onto, and some of them, like if Kirby gets stuck on the edge, like you'll lose momentum and you'll just drop down, or you'll get hit by something and it's just a bad day. Going into Kracko Jr. Kracko Jr. is not a random encounter at all. Kracko Jr. is scripted to drop 4 cannonballs and a Waddle Doo every single time. So we're going to see really quick work of this mini-boss. Alright, so now going into the second half of Bubbly Clouds here, it looks like Moliman gets the background glitch, which is... it's a pretty cool glitch. I personally don't enjoy it because I can't see where I'm going, but it does save a little bit of time. So Moliman makes really quick work of that block wall as well. That's actually a lot harder than it looks because you have to maintain momentum with Kirby and keep a vertical momentum with Kirby as well to try and get into a one-block section. It's actually quite difficult, and the room that Moliman is on right now too is actually quite difficult for leg management because you can't simply just hold right and hold the shoot button. You actually have to stagger your right button presses in order to minimize some of the lag. Mumuni here opting for the very top route, which is a very common route as well too. Most people take the second round because they can time the Waddle Dee a little bit better, but the top route is a much easier route to take, and it doesn't save any time at all. It takes just as much time. Here we have Moliman on Kracko, which everyone deems the worst boss in Kirby's Dream Land, which I would sometimes agree. Kracko is a full-on RNG fest if you don't know the new RNG manipulations. What's going to happen with Kracko is that Kracko is going to do a few things. Kracko is going to swoop down and go to the other side of the screen and shoot some little laser beams out. in hopes that Kracko will drop a Waddle Doo, which Kirby will inhale and shoot back at Kracko. Moliman got a very nice Kracko kill there. Another attack that Kracko can do that you don't see very often is that Kracko can float across the top of the screen. To trigger that, you have to keep a Waddle Doo in your mouth as Kracko is wanting to transition. And what that's going to do is that actually makes Kracko take a little bit longer to get across the screen. Typically what you'd like to see is a Kracko swoop and a Waddle Doo, or a Kracko laser and then a Waddle Doo. You don't want to see Kracko either move or do a bunch of things in between. Moliman, now in Mount DDD, Stage 5, he is going to be doing the refights, just like every great game has. And one little cool thing about Kirby's Dream Land is that the refights isn't just like a boss gauntlet. It's you get to replay some of the interesting parts of the actual stage. Looks like Moliman here having a little bit of trouble with Love there. Some of the patterns, like if you already have a box in your mouth and you want to hit them, sometimes it's hard to think on the fly, like do I need to swallow this box and pick up the other one, or do I need to try and do some fancy jumping and some fancy movement through all of this. But the point of Stage 5 is to collect the Kirby mirror that's at the end of it to get the Gordo out of the door and have Kirby walk in and face the boss. The Gordos in Stage 5 are an instant kill no matter how much health you have, so very important to get through them. So we have both runners right now on Kracko. Moliman is ahead by one boss right now. Moon Money opting to choose Kracko first, I believe. Yeah, this is some epic music at least, though. Kracko being Kracko as typical here. So you can see there, right there, there's the top of the screen float there on Moliman. The move is a little bit slower than the traditional move, but it is a little bit safer. You don't have to worry about having Kracko come and hit you in the face. So here we go now, Moliman moving on to the Kabula refight. There is a couple of Gordo clips that you can do throughout Stage 5, which do save a little bit of time. The one at Float Islands is that you just have to head dive into that pit of spikes right there that does about half your health, and you use the forward momentum from the head dive to go behind the Gordo. I don't recommend it ever, especially in a race. Alright, so we got here Kabula being a little bit of a troublesome person. You don't want Kabula to do too many triple shots, because sometimes the triple shots can be a little difficult to have, and you can't really move through them without missing. So now we have both runners in the Greens refight here. Moon Mooney, sorry about that. Moon Mooney going into Wispy right now, as Moliman going into the Wispy fight. I believe Moliman still has a one boss advantage over Moon Mooney. So we get 3 apples to start here. Moon Mooney getting some nice RNG there from the tree. Moliman getting what we call golden apples, 6 apples, all back to back. Perfect RNG on Moliman's side. Moliman's now going to be fighting DDD. King DDD has 4 attacks. It can do the hammer attack, which will trigger when at Kirby's last known position when the attack is active. DDD will do a dive attack, which will be at Kirby's current position. DDD can do a sucking attack, which goes at Kirby's last known position when the attack is triggered. And DDD can do a jumping attack, which can create 2 stars. However, in Kirby's Dream Land, unlike the future Kirby games, if you do inhale 2 stars, it doesn't count as an enhanced star or double damage at all. It just still counts as a single hit of damage. Moliman getting exceptionally good DDD luck right now. Moon Money now on the DDD fight. Let's see what kind of luck Moon Money can get. And Moliman done with a time of 12:32 on the final hit there. GG's to Moliman. Moon Mooney having 1 hit point going into DDD during a race. It's a 50-50 shot. It depends if the racers are watching one another or if they're listening to commentary. Typically in a race setting, a person may, if they have 1 hit point going into DDD, take an intentional death. That way they can do the fight with full hit points. Mooney, unfortunately, taking a death there. 4 hits into DDD. So we'll get to see some more. See how DDD treats them after this here. Looks like DD is off to a good start here, generating 3 stars right off the get-go. 4 stars off the get-go. Very good DDD fight so far. Mooney needs to be a little bit careful. You're taking a lot of damage at the start of this DDD fight. I'm not sure if they're trying to possibly set up for a double spit, which is a which they can do something we call a task spit, which if you shoot a star out and swallow within, I think it's 5 or 8 frames, you can create what is called an instant action, and when DDD does a jump, you can actually hit him with both stars. But it looks like we have 1 hit each for Kirby and DDD, what will come down to. And Mooney done with a 1402. GG's to Mooney and Moliman for the Kirby's Dream Land race. Very good run from both runners. If you guys are wondering what the lore for Kirby's Dream Land is, it's King DDD stole all the food in Dreamland, and it's up to Kirby to go get the food back and dispense it across Dreamland again. So that's pretty much the story behind Kirby's Dream Land 1. Kirby's Dream Land 1 doesn't offer any power-ups. The only power-ups it kind of gives you is the mint leaf, the curry, I guess the microphone and bomb, if you want to count those as power-ups. So and with that, that is Kirby's Dream Land. Thank you all for having me on commentary. Thank you all for letting me commentate the race, and have a fantastic rest of your
Thank you, runners and for the awesome Kirby race. That's all going to be for me for the first session I have here for Pixels for Peace Spring 2019. I'll be back at about 10:30 Central Standard Time, or Central Standard Time, for some Jet Set Radio and ending with several other runs very late tonight. But right now, it's going to be some Mega Man. The Blue Bomber has 4 games in a row, starting with Mega Man 2. Cosmic Gamers is going to be the runner, and we have a brand new host. Cove is here to take over. So, Cove, the flight attendant seat is yours.